All right, guys, we are back with ENDEX AI, the Excel super agent that lives in Excel. And today we're answering the question, is this deal worth pursuing? Which we oftentimes ask ourselves, is this deal worth pursuing? And so what we're going to do is put ENDEX to the test here. I put a really thorough and robust prompt together. And what I'm going to do is attach an OM, an offering memorandum, and we're going to get to work. So first I'm going to attach the offering memorandum, okay, because it's going to take a second to load. Now I'm going to go to Claude because I put together a prompt, okay, and a really good one at that, because you get out what you put in. In other words, garbage in, garbage out. We don't get garbage out because we don't put garbage in. So we're essentially, in this scenario, having ENDEX screen this deal against our acquisition criteria. Now, this is not my actual investment criteria. It's just an example, okay? But we have our return hurdles. We want a minimum 12 IRR, 15 preferred, minimum cash on cash yield 1 of 6%, target equity multiple, a lot of other metrics there. Deal size and structure. These are the deal size metrics that we look for. Here are the asset types, multifamily being number one. That's what this deal is. Here's what we want to avoid as far as asset types. We have a geographic focus, must-haves, avoid markets, asset quality, business plan, tenant income profile, a lot of good stuff. Okay, now what's so great about this is you'll take this prompt, you'll input all of your investment criteria, and then what we're going to say here, deal information provided, see attached OM. And the task is to analyze this deal against my investment criteria. And we want a report with an executive summary, a deal snapshot, return analysis, criteria alignment matrix, red flags and concerns, missing info, market context, value add opportunity, quick math, next steps. If it's a go, what are the DD items to pursue immediately? If a no-go, what are the reasons why we passed? We're going to put together a deal comparison, and all of this is going to be with these output requirements. Okay, so really good stuff in, really good stuff out. Let's hit send and put this to the test. So first it's going to read the OM. Let's give it a second to actually do that. We'll come back in just a moment. Okay, quick little update here. Read the OM, analyzed the deal financials. Now it's organizing key property and financial metrics from the OM into a structured deal snapshot table. And then we have a little to-do list here. So we're going to build that, create that, build that, create criteria, document red flags, and missing info. What's great about ENDEX is that it kind of like evolves as you get into it. So that may not be the final to-do list. And there may be some things that it either catches as far as like errors or some new ideas that it wants to add. Look, it already gave us a recommendation and it says no-go. Bottom line, there's a hard pass. Well, let's just see what it does. We will report back in just a moment here. All right, so it looks like it went pretty deep with the analysis here, which is great. It's still working at it. It is finalizing the report. I'm excited to walk through this with you guys just because there's some really interesting stuff in here. Okay, great. Like I said, so we initially had this to-do list of 5, and then it added one more, and it's applying formatting to this analysis. So this should all get cleaned up. So it's a lot more presentable. Yeah, there we go. Starting to look pretty. And as far as timing, guys, I think we're 8 minutes into this. So moving very fast. And look, we just added another item to the to-do list. I can't speak. Verify analysis, completeness, and accuracy. Done. So I think we're pretty much done here. Let's just wait for the final go ahead. What's so great about this use case is you could have your executive assistant or your VA or somebody with little to no understanding how to use Excel or how to underwrite deals complete this, right? As long as we have the investment criteria, we can compare the deal to that very easily. And so I think this is a really effective analysis and use case, what we just did here. So yeah, we are confirmed done. And I always just want to point out the suggested follow-ups are oftentimes pretty cool. And look, the summary of everything is just right here in the chat as well as in the actual analysis. But Suggested follow-ups would be calculated the estimated levered and unlevered IRR for this deal based on the provided cash flows. I might say something like this, actually. Calculate the realistic levered and unlevered IRR for this deal based on real numbers and assumptions. So we'll let that calculate. But in the meantime, let's just talk through what we already have here. So executive summary, it's a no-go and it's a pass. Confidence level, 95%. Deal score, 25 out of 100. Here's the bottom line, right? This is a hard pass. The deal violates 7 critical investment criteria from our list. Now, we gave it a very robust list of criteria, and so it's matching it up against that. It's too small. It's in the wrong area. It's a 96-year-old building. LA rent control severely limits upside. It has 50% plus Section 8 concentration, and that violates our less than 10% threshold. High regulatory burden California market, and pro forma returns fail to meet minimum hurdles. The rent-controlled environment limits value-add execution and deferred maintenance risk in our 1929 building is substantial. Here's the deal snapshot. It says it's a going-in 9 cap. Wow. Okay. Return analysis versus hurdle rates. It's not doing any calculations here. It's just confirming what's in the deck versus our thresholds. Whoa. Okay, so yeah, it's saying year 1 cash on cash projected is greater than our minimum. Anywhere it says pass, that means we hit that threshold, so cool. But again, it's just pulling from information in the open. So now criteria alignment matrix, deal size fails, asset type partial, geography fail, return hurdles partial, IRR is unknown at this point because we haven't calculated it yet. Leverage, structure, okay, great. Red flags and concerns, it's below the deal size, wrong geography, old building, huge deferred maintenance risk, has 50% plus Section 8 subsidized housing concentration. Okay, all that, great. Moderate need mitigation. Pro forma rents assume 16% increase across portfolio. Aggressive given RSO constraints. Cool. Expense ratio of 32% pro forma seems optimistic for 1929 building. That's awesome. I agree. Small unit sizes, parking situation not to close. Great. Disclosed. Can't speak. Jeez. Must have for decision. You need a 5-year IRR and cash flow projections. You need a detailed renovation scope and budget. Phase 1 environmental, property condition report, actual trailing 12-month operating statement, rent roll with lease expiration dates, and Section 8 subsidy amounts. Important, but can wait. Title commitment and survey, historical vacancy trends, cool. That's all wonderful. Market context, South LA is a challenged submarket with declining fundamentals contrary to our Sunbelt growth focus. This is so amazing. Value add opportunity assessment, renovation potential is limited. RSO severely constrains ability to capture value from renovations. While brokers suggest 60% rent upside, achieving this requires either tenant turnover or banking allowable annual increases over multiple years. Okay, operational improvements, minimal. Building already 100% occupied. Cool. Revenue enhancement constrained. Risk level very high. Business plan relies on rent growth that may be unachievable given regulatory constraints. Woof. Okay. Quick math. Great, simplified return, indicative. So it's saying levered IRR estimate. This was before we actually asked it to calculate it. And it's saying 8 to 10% below our 12% hurdle. Next steps, no-go recommendation. Pass on this opportunity with polite decline to broker. That's nice. What would need to change to make it work? Here's a handful of things. Here's the actual language you could send to the broker. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing. We've reviewed the offering, and while we appreciate the opportunity, this asset doesn't align with our current investment focus on blah, blah, blah. Great, fine. Match to stated criteria, severe misalignment, cool, final assessment. Now, oh wow, look, so it's building. Oh my God, look at this. Okay, interesting. So NOI growth rate, exit cap rate, exit year 5, cool. So we have our 5-year cash flow projection. Cash to equity, cash flow, cool. So this is saying a 5-year 25.3 IRR with a 2 times equity multiple. That's levered IRR. Unlevered 9.2%. Which debt metrics did it use? So it's saying 75% LTV at a 6.3% rate. Is that achievable today? I don't know if we're going to get 75% for this type of deal. I'm not totally sure. I wonder if, okay, that's fine. So now it's doing this analysis summary. So levered IRR exceeds our hurdle. Unlevered, okay, fine. Equity multiple exceeds. cash on cash exceeds. Okay. While the quantitative returns surprisingly exceed hurdles, this is a textbook example of why qualitative factors matter in real estate investing. The IRR calculation reveals the deal can generate acceptable returns, but it ignores execution risk, RSO, market risk, building risk, and then operational complexity. Final recommendation. Despite the attractive IRR, this remains a no-go due to below minimum 10 billion. Okay, wrong market, qualitative risk far outweigh quantitative returns. So easy to do that. You can have anybody do that. We save that prompt and we use it for everything. I mean, and then it's just a drag and drop, copy and paste, drag and drop, copy and paste. This whole report can be sent by your VA very easily. You could look at it in a second. Bada bing, bada boom. I wonder what expenses did it use? Okay, interesting. So it looks like it just pulled the NOI from the broker's deck, which I didn't want it to do that, but that's okay. And again, a lot more suggested follow-ups here. This is an interesting one. Break down the expense line items and benchmark them against typical operating ratios. That's a good little analysis right there. I like that. And then we can enhance that query with AI. I like that. So now we enhanced our query. Look how much more detailed that prompt gets. Really interesting. So we took a little prompt, enhanced it with ENDEX's integrated AI enhancer, got a beefy prompt. Now it's going to structure some expense benchmarking for us. We will come back once this is done. Quick little update. Looks like it created a new sheet for the expense benchmarking. Got a new to-do list. So I did some research online. Now it's going to build this expense breakdown table with actual versus the benchmark comparisons. We'll be back. Oh, actually, it's already gone. So it'll do the formatting for us, but let's just take a look at what we got. So, okay. You could do such crazy analysis with ENDEX. I mean, we are just analyzing after analyzing. It's just nonstop. Cool. So it looks like, yeah, it's calling out some stuff here, which is great. Not sure I agree with the benchmarks. Something I'd probably do is upload our benchmarks. So if you have Yardi or Building or any of these enterprise type platforms where you can get access to real-time operating expenses, pull that report and add it to ENDEX. So it references each time. That way it's not just guesstimating by doing research online, and it has real data based on the stuff that you have. Okay, so it's doing a really thorough breakdown here, which is great. Look at this. The level of analysis is insane. It just digs so deep, which is amazing. I mean, look at this, just insurance analysis. And then you got a utilities analysis. It's calling out red flags, resident manager. I mean, it's just going to go on and on. So anyways, cool little use case, pushing the limits here with ENDEX. Really excited to see it just continue to get better. I'm really excited to be able to use our own underwriting models with ENDEX layer on top of it. It'll continue to just get better. I'm also really excited for them to start integrating with different comp providers. Hopefully that happens soon, just because I think that's awesome. So fire.